everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour. This is Katie Weaver, and I'm here with my sister, co host, and all psychic things, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It is good. I laid down this afternoon and now I'm like, I gotta wake the hell up here, people. But other than that, it's good.
Well, very good. It is really, really super freaking cold here.
Oh, it was -7 when we got up with like a wind chill of -12. And
Mm-hmm.
I have not left the house today because, oh,
It's biting.
damn it.
Yeah. We got up, it was -7 here too, with a wind chill of -16 when I first took the dogs out to their first potty and the pigs, and they were, they didn't even like that. Yeah, it sucked. But the sun has shone all day. So it's been really cold, but the sun's shining. So, we do like that.
Yeah, it has been a beautiful day, but yeah, cold, cold, cold.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say hi to our chatters Barbara, GB, Lana, Amy. Good to see everybody. Barbara, look how cold it is in Tucson. Listen to me. We are going to be in Tucson in the middle of March, and it better be warm. Okay. That's all.
Mhm.
I'm not making any threats, but.
By hell, it better get better.
We will be fleeing early spring in Idaho, and it better be decent. She's like,
Right?
I'll just dial that up for you. Yeah.
Right. Well, GB says it's -20 in
Yes.
Canada, which
Yeah.
my apologies for our whininess for our -7, but
Yes.
it's pretty much once you get below 0,
Ugh.
um, it just doesn't matter. It's
Mm-hmm.
just all hellaciously cold.
Mm-hmm. That's a hard boo right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, we have a funeral on Monday, and the burial is from whence we came, where we were born, a little tiny place in Idaho that's at the base of the Teton Mountains, the Teton Mountain Range,
Mhm.
as a part of the Rocky Mountains. And it gets horrifyingly cold up there in the winter. And that's where the gravesite is. So hard yikes.
Right? Oh, dang it.
It'll be really cold up there. Yeah. But we'll do it, by God. We're not wimps. We are huge wimps, but
We are, but we're also actually much tougher. We talk a whiny game, but we're actually
mhm,
pretty tough. We've lived here all our lives, so
I think so. I think so. Yes. Oh, Alexa said it's 40 in Santa Cruz and it makes her bones ache. I do get that though. I do. Yeah.
yeah, if you didn't live with this kind of
Yeah.
cold, and yeah, 40 would be cold if you're not used to it.
Amy had snow this morning and it's supposed to be in the 60s next week. What in
What?
the. Yep,
Crazy.
Paula, you're speaking my language. She said, there's no such thing as bad weather, only poor clothing choices. I worked in
Yes.
early childhood for 10 years, and that was the going saying. There's no bad weather, there's just bad clothes because kids have to go outside and play every day, regardless of how cold it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can't stand them, you know? So
Yeah, they need to go run that energy off. They've got to be dressed
I
warm.
kid. It's for their social and emotional development, of course.
Of course.
Well, as per our normal question around here, what did you make for dinner or have for dinner? What did you have for
I
dinner?
I had a can of soup. Rhonda's not feeling very well and she didn't want anything, so I had a
Oh,
very exciting can of soup.
wow, wonderful.
It was thrilling.
I decided at 6 o'clock that I really wanted to make lasagna for dinner. I thought we had lasagna noodles in the cupboard, to be fair. We did not. So I ran into town to the grocery store, grabbed everything I needed, ran home, and threw together a lasagna as fast as I could to get it in the oven before I needed to get on the air so that when I get off the air, well, we'll have lasagna.
Nice.
And I made it with like 8 minutes to spare.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Look at this. GB had chicken lasagna and Caesar salad.
Oh, nice.
And Amy had leftover beef stew. Well, on a cold day like today,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Oh, Amy says in Oklahoma, if you don't like the weather, wait an hour. They say that in Idaho, except for it's more like if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm familiar
It's
with this
true.
sentiment. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, oh, Barbara's batch cooking, so a little bit of everything. Oh, that's so smart.
Mm.
I wish I did that.
I've done it a couple times and I don't know.
I,
I don't know if it helps me.
my problem is once I have it all cooked, then I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
and it sits in the freezer forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've kind of been that way too.
That's apparently not being a good enough cook for that, I think, but or planning well enough, or I don't know what.
Something.
There's something wrong with me. Hey, yo, how's it going? Good to see you. So, oh, RB said no dinner, just yep, leaving work. Well, listening to us on their drive home. Well, good. We're glad you're here.
Yes, we are.
So, we thought it might be fun to have a miracles show. You know, we've all experienced miracles in our lives, big ones and little ones. And I thought it might be fun for Christy and I to share some of the miracles that we've experienced in our lives and open the floor for you guys to share some miracles with us. I'm going to tell you that uh, YouTube will listen, or they will limit how much you can type. And so if you have a long story, you might hop over onto the YouTube or the Facebook stream to share it. Or, you know, just do it in parts and that's okay too. But just so
Yeah.
you know, YouTube has been an issue with that in the past. So
Yeah.
Barbara says her thin husband is actually a locust. He eats everything.
Well, isn't he lucky?
And Oriana is having baked ziti. Ooh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's true, Amy. I don't think we're that much different, are we? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Except for they get the ultra hot days and we get the ultra cold days. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I hate to say it, but I'll take the cold ones.
Me too. I
The
can't do
major
that hot.
heat. Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So that's what we were thinking about. So, hey, Cranky. We experienced a lot of miracles when our parents were passing. And so we had a few of those to share. I had a couple other thoughts that I had. So, Christy, when you think about miracles in our lives, what's one of the first things that you think about or in your life?
Um, well, I mean, honestly, the day before our dad died, we had a miracle that
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget, and it actually is related to the funeral that we're going to on Monday.
Yeah, we've
Our
had a very
dad's
tender thing
yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, our dad's first cousin, Dennis, who was very close to my dad, and they were good friends, and my dad, even though he lived quite a ways away, he would come for a haircut, and, they just remained close as adults,
Well, and they
and
grew up down the lane from each other,
they did, yeah. That's
and
true.
their mothers were sisters, and their dads were brothers,
Right,
and the
right.
families were just extremely close.
They were, yeah. So, sadly, Dennis passed this week, and so we are going to his funeral on Monday. But that got us thinking about the day before our dad passed away. It was I don't know if any of you have been with someone through hospice, but it is very challenging, but you can tell when people are getting close, and he had been for a
Mhm.
while. He was pretty much just speaking gibberish most of the time and,
Doing
talking
some
about our mom a
crazy
lot.
stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and doing crazy things, and so what happened is that he had this fairly lucid day where all of a sudden he's talking to us and making sense and stuff, and one of the things that he asked for was a blessing, and
Mhm.
Mormon men, do a particular kind of blessing, and he wanted a blessing like that. Well, you know, there's a whole other thing, we won't get into it, but anyway, only certain Mormon men can do one of those, let's just put it that way.
Mhm.
And so we were trying to find somebody to do it and trying we had actually thought of Dennis, but he lives quite a ways away, and we were trying
Mhm.
to figure out how to get a hold of him and weren't
Well, we had a neighbor down the road who had been incredibly kind to our
Oh,
dad all
right.
the way through his passing. So we had, wondered about running down there or, yeah, but yes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, so, we were just kind of feeling a little frantic because everything was
Mhm.
frantic. I mean, he'd been running a fever of 107, if you
Yeah.
can imagine what that must be like.
Mhm.
And then the doorbell rang, and we opened the door, and there's Dennis standing there on the doorstep, and he says, "Well,
Mhm.
I was just in the area for work, and I just had this feeling I should stop by and see
Mhm.
how things are going," and
Mhm.
it was just
Well, and he
it
was
was
like in tears on the doorstep.
yeah,
It's like he just
like,
had this.
he knew.
Mhm.
He knew, and he came and he gave our dad the blessing and, basically released him and said, "It's okay for you to go. Everybody's
Mhm.
okay. We're gonna be alright. It's okay for you to pass." And then
Mhm.
after that, dad had, like, several hours of the most lucid time he'd had in
Mhm.
weeks and weeks, and he
Mhm.
had the opportunity to, like, talk to each of us individually and tell us all
Mhm.
goodbye, and his
And
siblings
his
were there,
brothers.
and yeah,
Yeah.
we had a bunch of family there, and so we all got this just unbelievable experience
Mhm.
that it all started because Dennis just knew he
Dennis
needed to
showed
show
up.
up that day, and he did.
He was at a meeting in a town about 30 miles away, and he said when he got on the highway to head home, his car went the other way, and he
Yeah,
just knew, "Nope, Kenny needs
he
me and
needed
I gotta
to come
go."
up.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was just a crazy moment of, like,
Mhm.
yeah, we're getting a little help
Mhm.
today because he passed the
Yeah.
next day. I mean,
Yeah.
he passed about 24 hours after that.
Yeah.
So that was a huge, um,
Yeah.
thing, it was just crazy.
Mhm. It was, and then he's always been special to us, but that just, you can imagine how much that endeared him to us. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we learned last Friday that he was also a cancer survivor. He just finished up chemo in September.
yeah,
And then just recently contracted COVID and ended up in the hospital with COVID pneumonia. And we received word last Friday that he was intubated, and it just that's not
yeah,
good news. And
no,
then of course he passed on Tuesday morning. And his wife had texted us and said, "Hey, just so you know, this is going on, and I just know Kenny's just right by his side,
yeah,
helping him fight." And oh my God, we were gutted.
yeah,
You know? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. Yep. There's so much, but when someone is passing like that, there's just so much heaven in the room. It's
Mhm,
just so
there is.
amazing. But our mom had cancer as well. And when she was diagnosed, she had a dream about her grandmother, and her grandmother had cancer and
Oh,
had been extremely special to her and passed when she was about 14. And just, it was a really huge loss for her in her life.
yeah,
But she woke up in the middle of the night and was dreaming about her grandma being like in her face talking at her. And she woke up and her hand was pressed on her breast and she could feel a lump. And it scared the crap out of her. And she just brushed it off and went, "Oh my God, I don't even want to think about this." Our dad already had cancer. And
yeah,
so, like, it was just unfathomable. So she ignored it, did nothing for about 5 days. And it happened again. And she woke up knowing with that hand pressed up against that lump again, with waking up from a dream where her grandma was like in her face talking at her.
yeah,
And she was like, "Okay, I gotta go." So she went to the doctor and found out that she had a very aggressive form of breast cancer, and within days had had a mastectomy, was starting chemo. Like, it all happened really, really fast. But she
yeah,
always said that she felt like her grandma Alice got her there, got her
got
attention
her
and made sure
attention.
she knew and made her pay attention to it and go to the doctor. That always
Right.
blew me away.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. A Mormon blessing is not like Catholic last rites. Mormon blessings can be for all kinds of reasons, for
Mhm.
illness or for grief or an injury. It can be for lots of different things.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty common in the Mormon church. But when
Yeah.
people are passing, it's really common to give them a blessing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I was thinking about a time when I really needed to quit my job. I had a home daycare. I had a home daycare for 10 years, and I closed it a couple of times to direct commercial centers and then went back home because that turned out to be way better working for yourself. And but at any rate, I was really burned out, like really burned out. But it was good money and tough to walk away from that. But I had taken a second gig with the state, mentoring childcare facilities, because I'd been in the field for so damn long and I had a degree. And so, I was mentoring other like facilities with newer owners and things. And in my heart, I just really wanted to transition to where that's all I was doing and close my own center. But it was just hard to do. And some of the kids I'd had since they were babies and they were, like almost at school age. It was hard to walk away from.
Sure.
And then, and my mom had been telling me for so many months, "Close that freaking daycare. You're exhausted. You're
Yeah.
done. Do something else." Everybody was telling me because the plan was to
Right.
do that till my kids were in school. Well, now my kids have been in school for years and I was still doing daycare. And anyway, I had a health inspection. So you have a health inspection every year, of course, normal stuff.
Mhm.
I failed the health inspection because, don't worry, nothing terrible, but it was my well, because I live rural and we're on a well. My well failed the health inspection, meaning that our water wasn't safe, which was concerning since, we live here and drink the water.
Right.
So they have you do a thing called shocking your well, where you pour a bunch of bleach down into it and it sits in the well for a little while, and then you run your faucets for like an hour to rinse all the bleach out of it. It's awful. It burns your eyes. It just, you smell bleach, taste bleach forever. So we shocked the well and still failed. So she had me wait about a week and shock the well again, and we still failed. And I'm a little nervous since we do drink this water, but nobody had been sick. Like, I didn't really have any indications that the water was actually making us ill. But at any rate, there was an unacceptable level of something in it for the state. And I finally decided this is my answer. My mom was like, "Do you need to be hit in the forehead? Like, this is it. Close.
Right.
This is your moment." And I went, "This is my moment." So I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to close. So I let the state know wanted to take more clients on and just transition to more to that work. And I decided that I was going to go ahead and I let all my families know that I was going to close. And the state lady was like, "Oh, no, 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 I am not going to let you close." And I'm like, "Oh, honey." you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
she's like, "I
It's
cannot
okay.
let you fail." She sent me a bunch of information on some sanitation thing I could put on my well that was like $5,000. All of these ideas. She's like, we will not close you. And I was like, you will. And I said, "Actually, you don't have to close me. I'm closing me. But anyway, she showed up like the day I closed and said, "I'm just going to check your water one more time because I'm just heartsick to close your center. You've been here forever. I've always really enjoyed you here, and this just seems so wrong." So, but I'd already closed. I was done. My families had moved on. And guess who's, passed their inspection, no problemo.
Yeah.
Hmm. But it was over. Daycare was done, and I was finally free to move on, and it was huge for me. And to
Yeah.
me, that is one of my miracles for sure.
That is cool. That is very cool. Well, I will tell you that another miracle for me is when Idaho legalized marriage marriage equality. So,
Yeah.
my wife and I were married in Utah in 2013. We'd already had, like, a church commitment ceremony, all that stuff, but we went and we got legally married at the end of 2013.
Hmm.
And then Idaho's, constitutional ban on same-sex marriage came up. There was a lawsuit, had been a lawsuit for quite a long time against
Hmm.
it, and, um, the court came up in the Ninth Circuit District Court, and they shot it down and said, "This is unconstitutional, you can't do this." And so, the governor, of course, vowed, and they tried to fight it and everything, but ultimately what happened is that Idaho inadvertently legalized same-sex marriage, and so our marriage went from legal only in Utah to legal in the state of Idaho where we lived
Hmm.
overnight. And Rhonda had just changed jobs and she had a job at the state. And I said, "I want my insurance. Go
Yeah.
get me on this insurance." And
Hmm.
so she did. And I immediately went to a doctor because I hadn't been feeling really very well. I'd lost some weight, which without trying, which is not really something that's ever happened to me before. And I just wasn't feeling right.
Hmm.
And, I told my doctor I had a lump in my throat, and she sent me for an ultrasound, and it turned out I had a large thyroid tumor. And this was,
Hmm.
like, at the end of 2014. By January of 2015, I was having surgery to have my thyroid removed.
Yep.
And so I always like to say that, marriage equality saved my life because it did.
Yeah.
I didn't have a regular doctor. I couldn't afford to go to a regular doctor.
Yeah.
So nobody knew that I was growing that tumor that whole time.
Yeah.
And it's led to all kinds of other discoveries about medical stuff that I deal with that had been undiagnosed, and now I'm on good insurance that will cover all that,
And
you
get
know?
good medical care. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That is a huge miracle.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, when my second baby, well, not
Yeah.
born, but was conceived, I had two miracles with Matea. The first one was when my first baby was 6 months or 6 weeks old. I had my parents lived across the street, and I had taken him across the street to my mom's. And for whatever reason, I took her car. I'm not even sure now why, but I was actually dropping two daycare kids off at home, some older, like school age kids that just needed a ride home. And so I had ran these girls home, and I was coming back home to my house, my folks' house, driving my mom's cute, fairly new to her Lincoln Town car, and
Yeah.
two cars in front of me crashed, and one of them ricocheted off and hit me and totaled the car. And I got, I was feeling pretty shocked. It happened so fast, and it just like it was. I don't know. If you've been in. It was a pretty not a super high speed crash, like maybe 35, 40 miles an hour. That's fast enough.
Oh, yeah.
And I got out of the car, and this guy that lives near us that I've known forever and ever was the first one on the scene. And he runs up to me and, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, I don't know. My back kind of hurts. So he literally like wrestles me to the ground in the gravel and makes me lay there until the ambulance gets there. And I feel so stupid. Well, someone else that was there knew us because we were in our neighborhood and ran to my parents' house and got my dad. So my dad comes back and I'm laying in the gravel and all these people are looking at me. So I'm looking up, and we're waiting for the ambulance. And uh, here comes my dad's face, are you okay? And I said, Dad, it wasn't my fault. I just wrecked our car.
Right. You were driving one of their cars.
Yeah, their new car. And he's like, I don't care about that. you know? I remember thinking, oh my God, I felt so bad. Anyway, um, so he anyway, they loaded me up in the ambulance and started to go to the hospital. And the the ambulance, the EMT was asking me lots of questions, and I had said that I had a 6-week-old baby and all of these things. Are you allergic to things? All the questions they ask. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I blurt out, I think I might be pregnant. And then I was like, what the fuck? Why did I say? What are you talking about? And the ambulance guy was like, oh, well, if you have a 6-week-old baby, ma'am, I think that's very unlikely. Well, I don't know if it was the inspiration going on or just the sheer stubbornness in me that really got me.
Right.
His slight, and I went, I said, well, I'm not having any x-rays until I know for sure. And then I forgot because I was in pain. I was hurt. I was quite hurt. And uh, so the steering wheel had driven into my belly and had bruised my liver and injured my spleen. And, and I had whiplash. Like I was hurt, luckily not like broken bone hurt, but I was hurt.
Yeah.
So I get to the hospital and I don't remember that I said that. I don't remember anything. They keep you tight on that board forever. And they did some labs, and pretty soon this lady comes in that was a neighbor, and she sits with me for a while. She was from admin or the admit department and just saw me come and was just sweet to me. And anyway, pretty soon my husband gets there and my parents get there, and the doctor comes in and he makes my parents leave, which again doesn't give me any kind of clue. And he says, that test you asked for? And I said, yes. But I did not know because I was in shock. Anyway, he says, "Well, that came back positive." So I sit there for a minute, and Scott's like, "What are we talking about?" And I finally said, "Oh, are you saying I'm pregnant?" And poor Scott fell into a chair. Now I can think about it and laugh. Anyway, so then they had to do the special, gowning you correctly and stuff, to protect a baby. And at that point, everything was okay. and they released me. I was just, again, but they were worried because I was bruised badly in the liver and the spleen area. So they said, don't just go to your regular OBGYN in the morning and get an ultrasound so that you can see what you're looking at here. And so I did, and the baby was fine. I was about like I wasn't very far along, like 2 weeks along, 3 weeks along. It was brand new,
Mhm.
and he, at any rate, he said, "Well, with the injuries you have, it's a miracle that the baby has lived through this. Here's why: the airbag never engaged. It was a head-on collision."
Oh, that's right.
And the airbag never engaged, and the police officer said that to me too. He said, "I'm really surprised." He said, "The car might have malfunctioned. The airbag
Mhm.
should have engaged." And I said, "Well, as it turned out, had the airbag engaged, I probably would have lost my baby." And that's what the doctor said. He said the airbag would have terminated your pregnancy. He said there's no way a baby could survive that. So I go along through the pregnancy for a while, and about 8 months along, they did an ultrasound and discovered that the baby had a really serious intestinal birth defect. So I said to the doctor, "Well, what do we do?" And he said, "Go home and pray." Remember, this is Rexburg, Idaho. These are praying folks, you know.
Mhm.
He said, "Go home and pray." He said, "Because it's really serious." So we went home and prayed. And we went back in a month later, and everything was fine. Whatever they thought was, they thought saw there, they didn't see it the next time, and she was perfectly fine. And now she's 20 years old and basically taking over the world. So, you
Yes,
know,
she is.
I have always felt like that kid had angels with her. She is supposed to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great one.
Yeah. Well, we've got lots of stories in the chat. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share before we?
No, no, let's see what else is coming up in the chat.
I thought we might could just use a feel good show. I think we could
Right?
use a feel good show.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And
Yeah.
it's a good idea to be reminded of the miracles that happen in our lives
Mhm.
and that happen for other people too. Just like, hey, sometimes some really amazing stuff happens. We need to remember that.
Absolutely. Partly because I think we have so many miracles that we miss.
Oh, for sure.
You didn't know that because you went this route, you missed that car wreck, or you didn't know that because you did this, that didn't happen, or whatever. There's so many things we don't know around us.
Right.
And so it's pretty cool to recognize the ones that we knew. Mary said, "I had many. I was once caught in a flood on the mountain, a wall of water and debris behind me, 120 miles an hour to try and outrun it. My car was picked up and gently placed in a field. No idea how." Wow.
Wow. That's
Mary also,
amazing.
yeah. Mary also, that must have been terrifying too, by the way. Wow.
Yeah.
Mary also said, "Another time at work, I knew the baby was in danger and called home. My dad said the house shook. He found her blue, not breathing, did CPR. She said a family ghost saved her life." Wow.
That's amazing. Hey, Renee, welcome. We're just talking about miracles tonight.
And then Mary said, "One time on a highway driving behind a car with a gas tanker in front, I heard 'get off the road now.' I ended up 3 lanes over instantly, and the car in front hit the tanker and exploded." Oh my God.
Oof.
Wow.
Yikes.
Cranky, I love this. She said, "My miracle is when I met my husband. He was the best thing that's ever happened to me."
Oh,
Oh,
that's very sweet.
I love that. Yep. Sherry said she had a daycare too. And when you do that, your husband never has a vacation day. Ooh, so true. Neither do you.
Yeah.
Yep. I went back to daycare twice a week after C-sections because you can't miss or you just lose your families. They just have to go somewhere else. So
Mhm.
I'd have the baby and rest for a few days and bring my daycare kids back.
Mm.
My family would be so mad at me for that, but I felt like I had to. I couldn't afford not to. But
Sure.
now I'm like, holy shit. Stupid, stupid. Mary said when she had her heart attack, 4 times each, the blockages disappeared on the screen, baffling the cardiologist. I had the heart attack, but they miraculously resolved. Wow.
Mm.
Amy said we had an ice storm, and when I went to leave work, my car wouldn't start. So I got a ride home. The next morning, our tree had split and my car would have been in the driveway. It would have been crushed.
Oh, wow.
Wow. 2 days later, we went to work on my car and it started right up. No problem. Oh, wow. It made,
That's
holy
so
moly.
cool. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, good to see you, Joni. Jessica said, when my grandpa passed, I was left in his room with him by myself. He started talking to me, telling me it was okay and not to be upset. I yelled to get mom back in. He said goodbye and passed again.
Wow.
I attended a death like that where my husband's grandpa died and then came back for a few minutes and then died.
Yeah,
The
that
way
can
he
be a
did it
little
was terrifying, and I think some people in the family still have nightmares from it. Jessica, yours sounds much better,
yeah,
but
be a bit shocking.
GB said, I took care of a lady on her passing, and I was napping in her room. Her mom, aunt, and one of her dogs came to me in my sleep. They were there to get her. I woke up and told her. She then passed.
Wow.
By the way, do you guys remember several months ago I had a nurse, a nurse that had been getting famous on TikTok on the show,
Yeah.
a hospice nurse, and she shared some of her experiences with us.
Mhm.
Um, she got her book deal.
Oh,
Do you
she
guys remember? She
did.
was talking about hoping to get a book deal. She got her book deal, which is
That's
pretty exciting.
great.
If you didn't watch that episode, go back and find it. It was very fun. But she shares a lot of stories like this from her days in hospice.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Mary said, when my daughter had ectopic pregnancy, I predicted it. And then after surgery, she was close to death. I ended up exposing who I was and did a healing, blew out the hospital lights. I couldn't lose her. Oh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. GB said my husband falling into the chair was funny. Well, I've laughed about it ever since.
Oh my gosh.
I've been laughing
I
about it
can
for
only
10 years.
imagine.
Well, when I had my first ultrasound, when I was pregnant with the first baby, and that's the like the intravaginal ultrasound they do, he tried to faint. They're doing the ultrasound. And, you're young and like this is super uncomfortable, this kind of ultrasound, and they've got that wand up in there poking around and
Mhm.
the nurse says, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I look up and she's helping Scott into a chair and he's just white.
Like, dude, you are not the one with the wand up the you know what. Come on.
The nurse was like, "Oh, honey, it's going to get worse." Probably why I ended up having C-sections. It was just a little better.
Yeah. Your husband couldn't take it. That's funny.
Lauren said, a guy I know was out target shooting with his son and accidentally shot himself in the leg. A few days later, while recovering from knee surgery, he had a massive heart attack. Had he not been in the hospital, he would not have survived. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. Wow.
Camille said, last April I had a brain aneurysm. Oh, Camille, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And a
Wow.
stroke. I laid by myself for nearly 24 hours before I had doctor care. I have zero lasting effects from that April Fool's Day prank that was played on me. Oh, honey, I'm so
Wow.
glad you're okay.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Lana said, when my first husband was dying from cancer, we had plenty of time to convey his humorous personality. After he passed, we all went to a room in the center. Oh, in the cantor. He was Jewish, so we were in the room. Oh. Yes, wasn't she great, Lauren? I know. I'm so excited for her that she got her book
Yes,
deal.
that's
So
wonderful.
deserves that. When Lauren said, when my mom had her hip replaced, my dad went to pick her up and tripped over his own feet in the hallway in the hospital and fell. They took him to the ER and discovered a brain tumor he had no symptoms of. Oh
Oh,
my God.
wow.
Wow. Wow. That is
That is
amazing.
so interesting. Wow.
Amy Ardrey said, my adopted brother is a walking miracle. He got cancer at 8, right after he was adopted by another family. Then, 24 years later, my family took him in after his adopted parents died. He was diagnosed again with cancer. Wow.
Oh, he
And she
then
said,
had to Did you see that?
Yeah. He then had a blood clot in his lung and wasn't expected to live. He's now almost 100%. Holy
Wow.
moly. Wow.
Yeah.
He's just supposed to be here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Mary said when my husband was going to have lung surgery, he didn't tell me. I healed him the night before surgery. He went in for pre op x rays. Mass was gone. Had to tell the surgeon who I was. Let's see. Oh, Lana said the cantor mentioned his sense of humor. Right as he was mentioning it, the light in the room flashed a few times. We looked down the hall and asked a passing nurse if the lights had flashed anywhere else. She said no.
Oh, I love that. That's cool.
We experienced a light thing with our cousin Tracy. Well, our cousin Natalie, her
Oh,
husband died, and quite unexpectedly in his 40s, they were hunting, and he just died. And in fact, the details around his death were pretty amazingly miraculous in a lot of ways. They were in an area that doesn't have any service, and she and one of their girls, they had at the time their girls were like teenagers,
Mhm.
and he and one of the girls had got her, our cousin and one of her daughters, one of the girls had gotten out of the truck to because they had shot a deer, and they were walking up on it to to dress it and stuff like that. And he was coming down the hill in the truck, and the truck was in gear, and he had a heart attack and slumped over the steering wheel, and he should have just barreled right over them where they were at and where the truck was pulling up to, and that truck stopped moving. It
Yeah.
was still in gear. Natalie
Yeah.
put it in park when she yanked
Going
him out
down
of
a
the truck,
hill.
going down a hill. There's no reason why that truck didn't literally just run those two over, but it
Yeah.
didn't. It stopped like it was just blocked by a wall. The motor was revved, and like it should have shot clear across that canyon, but just didn't. And she got to the truck and reached up and put it in gear or in park and turned the key off and pulled him out and started CPR. Well, there was no service. And so the girls ran clear up the hill to get way up where it was higher to hopefully get service. And miraculously, they did. So they called 911 and they called their grandpa. And their grandpa called my dad. And as it turned out, Scott was working in the area. He used to be a diesel mechanic on farms, and he was on a farm in that area that day. And my dad and Scott had hunted there lots of times, so he was able to tell him where. And he got there. He was the first family member on scene to get there to them.
Yeah.
And Life Flight was there at that point, and the ambulance made it there. And Life Flight called it. He was gone. There was
Yeah.
no life flight in him. But it was such an incredible miracle that he didn't run them over. I still have no explanation except for that they were supposed to be here
Yeah.
because it could have happened. It was
Mhm.
like there was just an invisible wall there preventing that truck from moving any further. Yeah. Amy said, when my dad died, I couldn't get it out of my head. I was pregnant. We had been trying for years. On the day of his funeral, something told me to go get a test. Turned out I was. Oh, Amy.
Wow.
Jessica, when I had my third child, emergency C section, my blood pressure was 80 over 40. Oh, and a crash cart by my head. I told God my husband and family wouldn't make it without me, and here I am. Oh, Jessica,
That's amazing.
so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Cranky said, I didn't think I was ever going to function again after my mom died. It took me a year and a half to stop being a zombie.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. I
Yeah.
hear you.
Mhm. I do too.
Yep.
It just takes what it takes.
I quit paying our bills. Just
Oh,
quit doing
that's
it.
right.
I was in charge of our finances. Scott just assumed it was happening. Life went on. We were both still working and just doing our regular stuff.
Yeah.
And suddenly we start getting like disconnect notices and late payment notices in the mail. And Scott's like, what is this? Oh, well, I had dug us quite the hole because I had just quit paying bills. I just quit doing anything. So anyway, he took him over then. It was a good
Probably
move.
wise. Yeah, yeah.
I never took them back, just to be clear. I like making money. I hate paying the bills. I'm a Cancer. I just want to save it all, you know?
Right. Just let it build up. Don't pay it.
Yeah, but I hear
Nope,
you,
just kidding.
Cranky. That's how
Goodness.
that goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hi, Jaylee. Yeah. Well, what do you say? We've got 19 minutes left. So I thought we would open the floor for a few readings if there's anything you guys need tonight.
Sure.
So while you're putting any requests up, we wanted to talk about a little guy we know named Tate
Yes.
who needs a miracle. So we thought this would be a good time to throw him out there to all of you to help pray for him and send some energy to him and to his mom. So you might know who Tate is. If
Mhm.
you watch Ellen years ago, she had a little guy on her show named Tate who needed a new heart.
Mhm.
And Tate, in fact, he's been back to her show quite a few times. She's always called Tate her boyfriend, Ellen's one and only boyfriend, because when Tate
Mhm.
was home with his bad heart and home with his mom every day, they would watch Ellen. And from the time he was like 3, he always said Ellen was his girlfriend. He loved Ellen.
Mhm.
And there was a big push around here when Tate needed a heart of people who did a big, like, media blast towards the Ellen show. And they actually picked up on it.
Yeah.
And they sent producers to their house and did an interview. And then when Tate was well enough, he got to travel to the Ellen show, and
Mhm.
then he got to be her date for Finding Nemo 2
Oh, right.
for the premiere. And they've been amazing to Tate and his family over the years. So Tate did get his heart,
He did.
and he did better for a while, but he has struggled. He really struggled. And this last year has been really, really tough on Tate. He's a teenager now. This last year has been really tough on him. Though he did get to go to the Christmas dance at his high school, which was pretty amazing. And
That is.
they've had a lot of miracles and kindnesses in their family. He's lived when he shouldn't have multiple times. He's been an amazing, amazing warrior.
Yeah.
And his mom, Chrissy, is the most incredible mom and person you just would ever
Yeah.
want to meet. Anyway, so Tate now, and in his next challenge on this path, is he developed a kind of cancer that transplant recipients sometimes get. And for him, it settled in his intestines and colon. And so they were given the impossible choice to do a surgery that could kill him, or this is going to kill him.
Yeah.
And so this morning, Tate went into surgery, and they removed 2 enormous masses from his intestines. And he's okay so far. He's resting comfortably. He's out of surgery. He's in a lot of pain, but he's okay. So now the next really big trick is to keep him from getting infected because his immune system is extremely compromised. It's
Yeah.
this big balance where all the anti-rejection meds destroy uh, your immune system, and you got to have that. But then at the same time, you've also got to have, uh, you know, an immune system to not get infections.
Right.
So they're in a very, very precarious spot here. So I would love, love, love it if you guys would just send a little extra prayer to Tate tonight. Just send a little extra energy. Envision for him being well and being whole and being healthy and getting back to his school and his friends and his life and doing well. He is so strong, Chaley. I'm with you. He is
Yeah.
an amazing, amazing person. So we're just
Yeah.
asking for one more miracle for Tate. He deserves it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got some reading requests here. So let's
Yeah.
get to that. Let's see. Uh, let's see. Christy Chaley would like a reading. Do you want her to get more specific? Do you want to do something general for her? What do you think?
Yeah, Taylor, why don't you give us a question if you have one or a life area you'd like to know more about?
Yeah. On these kinds of shows where we do quick, like rapid fire readings, you're better off to ask something because it it, it takes too long
Yeah.
to narrow down. Okay, Lana said, I'd like to know if there's anything you can release in my body to help me deal with chronic pain. Is there anything my mom or dad or 2 sisters have to tell me? Thank you. Actually, do you want to take that? You are so good
Mhm.
with chronic pain and energy work.
Yeah, I surely will. Let's see. Okay, so Lana, you have a really strange root chakra, like a strange malfunctioning root chakra. I'm not sure where your pain is at, but this is in your low back, right at the base of your spine. That part of your energy body is, there we go, very stuck, like almost not moving at all, which is a bad thing when it comes to pain. So I'm just going to correct that and balance your chakras. I think you're going to feel a whole lot better. That will help a lot. So if you want to move on, Katie, I can just finish this work.
Okay. All right. Chaley did throw a question out there. She said, love life. She said there was a guy, but he seems to have lost interest. Let's take a look at that. Mm-hmm. You know, the first words I heard, babe, were dodge a bullet. He's lost interest, but he wasn't the right thing. Um, he was going to be in and out and wishy-washy, and that's not what you want or what you need. Your confidence doesn't need that. And I feel like, unfortunately, there is, that, well, not unfortunately, but, I know it just doesn't feel good when you think you finally got something going here and it just is not. He was going to bust up your heart. So, yep. But let's take a look at love life in general for you. All right. Somebody, a past relationship is going to start tapping on you sometime around March, digitally, a text or a message, somebody that you have dated or at least messed around with the idea of dating. I don't feel like you're going to bite with that one either. I feel like you might kind of go, and you might be an ex for a reason. I do feel like, however, don't lose hope. Stick with me because I feel like sometime around April, somebody does come in that is serious. I think there's someone you do not know. This is something brand new. But I really feel like there is someone coming in for you. So, yeah, don't give up hope, but we'll cut that dude loose. He didn't deserve you. He didn't work for this. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Lana, I've got that all cleared up and your root chakra functioning the way that it's supposed to. That's going to help a lot. Your vibration was very low, and that contributes to pain. Keeping our vibrations high is one of the best things that we can do as people who struggle with chronic pain.
Yeah. Okay. Amy said, I've been missing my dad a lot, but haven't felt him in a while. Would love to hear from him. So I'll take that one. Let's see. Christy Sai said, oh, that's more mediumship. Let's see.
Yeah.
How about Corin? Corin said, if you have time, I'm having so much trouble thinking clearly enough to get my planning organized where it can be useful to me. And just run down and achy and not with it this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Corin, let's do a little clearing for you. Corin, or did you want to go?
No, go ahead. I'm just going to
Okay.
tune into Amy's dad.
Okay. So, Corin, I feel like one of your big challenges is that you take on so much energy from the people around you, and your vibration gets drugged down from that. And it's not a criticism, and it's also not something you can stop doing. It's just a part of who you are. But it does mean that you need, regular energy work to clear that energy away, because you get a lot of vibrational debris. So I'm just going to just balancing your chakras, and I'm going to clear that debris.
Okay. Can I move on to Amy while you finish up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Amy, your dad's so sweet. He really is. And he said that he has been around, but honestly, he said that you've been kind of depressed and low and he feels like he hasn't really been able to he said, break through the ice. I think that's just, get through the fog. I
Yeah.
asked him if he could just come through in a dream and let you really see him, feel him. that you need to have an experience from him. So he said that he would do his best to do that. He does want you to know that he's okay and he is around and that he's sorry. Oh, he's a sweetheart. He said he's sorry that you haven't felt him in a while and he'll try to do better to come through a little bit better. Yeah. Ugh. The collective energy lately has sucked. I think it's just held a lot of people down.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lauren said any messages from loved ones who have passed. I will take that one. Let's see.
Well, let's see. I can take Jessica.
Okay.
Jessica, I've had a lot of tingling in my left arm below the elbow. Can you see anything causing that? Let me see, Jessica. Jessica, do you sit with your elbow like on a desk? I feel like something's pinching or compressing in there. So think about the way that you're sitting, that you're not putting pressure on your elbow down on something, because it feels like that is part of it, but somehow you have a nerve or something there getting compressed. Obviously, you want to see a doctor for that too. But I'm going to run some energy through that I do for nerve related things, just to help perk up those nerves. But definitely watch for that. Anything that's happening that's putting pressure right there at your elbow, like where the nerves are in your elbow, anything you're just doing physically, I think will help a lot.
Lauren, your people. I had tuned into them and then I kind of like stepped back a little bit because I was just waiting for our turn. And I had this horrible shiver all the way down my back, which cracked me up because the woman that I keep seeing, there's a few, but I keep seeing this lady that I'm going to say grandma or great grandma, maybe, but she's really assertive. And she really wanted my attention. It just makes me laugh because I just had this huge shiver and I thought it's because I was ignoring her. She was going to have that because she really wanted to connect with you. So let's go ahead and get her message out here. So much from her about being in charge. She wants you to be in charge. Okay. She, yeah, she said she wants you to be in charge. And I said, in charge of who? And she said, the family. And I said, okay. And in what sense? And she said, she has good common sense. She knows what she's supposed to do. She needs to be in charge more. Oh, and speak her piece more. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
there you go.
So she wants you to up your assertiveness.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice.
I'm going to ask her to also come through in a dream for you so that you can get more of a feel for her as well. And honestly, Lauren, I hope you do know who I'm talking about because if I were her, if I were you, I would sick her on any situation you have going on that needs some, you know, some ass kicking because she's here for it. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Sai said, just before joining tonight, I woke up from a nap and my dad was in my dream and invited me to come to his apartment. Does he have a message for me? Oh,
I like that.
I'm so glad. I these dreams that people have passed that are it's about housing are really common. And it's usually a sense of them showing you that they're okay or kind of showing you where they are, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. But let me ask Sai if he has anything else he wanted you to know.
Well, and I can take Aaron. Aaron, I've got a persistent fear of leaving the house. Please cut the fear cord or give higher perspective advice. Yeah. So go ahead, Katie. I'm going to take a look at Aaron here.
Okay. So he cracks me up because he showed me this too, like gesturing you. I feel like he really does. I think you'll probably have another dream with him because he really did want to show you something. He wanted to show you something. Partly he just wanted you to see that he's okay and to just feel him, to just have that time together. But I do feel like he was trying to show you something about how the way he spends his time now. So I'm just going to ask him to pick that dream back up. Let you have another one so you can experience that. That seems to be what you need.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aaron, you did have 3 chords relating to fear around leaving the house, and I did. These are trauma chords. and I did clear those. I would love to work with you more on this. This is an issue that definitely takes more time than what I can do here. Obviously, what I've done will help, but we need to work on it more. So if you want to do that, go to truecrimeparanormalpodcast.com. You'll see a place where you can click to schedule a time with me. I would love to work on this on a deeper level. I really think we can solve it.
Yeah. Okay, good. All righty. Let's see. Sorry, I scrolled down and now I got to scroll back up. Okay, Robin said, "What about me? Money." Let's tune into money. A couple of things that come up for me for you, Robin, with money. We didn't talk about who was going to take Robin's question.
I was just figuring you were because you started, so
I just
I'm
jumped
waiting
right
for
in.
you.
Okay, I feel like, all right, sorry, Robin. just, just go crazy here. The first thing that I saw for you with money is being really sure that everyone else is carrying their weight. If you are supporting anyone else, if you're paying people's cell phone bills that are old enough to pay their own, that kind of stuff, that you really start scaling back a little bit on what you do financially for other people. I'm not entirely sure what that looks like. I hope that you know what that looks like. But that was the first thing I saw, was that you need to clear out any guilt of asking other people to be in charge of their own finances or their own stuff, and take a more active role in their financial stuff to give you a break. I feel like you really need that. And a lot of it right now financially, I feel like, is either being able to consolidate or condense some stuff so that you can bring your payment down and just get life, on a better financial keel, or just cutting a thing or two out. But I feel like you've cut and you've cut and you've cut. There's not a lot more to cut out. I feel like this might actually just be about consolidation, but in some way it is about paring down what's going out every month right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, babe. It sucks to have that kind of stuff going on, and this world has made it just harder the last while for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Betty said, I'm not sure who that is. Someone she knows, I guess, that died
I
of
think
cancer.
she's trying to say Van Jones.
Oh,
Van Jones,
wife.
who has a weekday talk show, I think.
Okay, wife died because of cancer because of the rejection medicine. Yeah, it's actually pretty common apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah, dang it.
well, anytime you're suppressing the immune system, you're just creating risk for other things.
Oh, yeah. Story of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Eliza said, "Ooh, Eliza, this is a toughie. This is a tough one, but I'd like to know why one of my dads murdered my mom before he killed himself. I've had 2 murder-suicides in my family, but I'd like his reason." Oh, honey, my God.
So sorry.
Let's tune into it.
Wow.
I'm going to call mom up first. She's easier.
Yeah. I'm gonna work on Sherry, who has swelling in ankles and legs.
So, Eliza, your mom wants you to know how sorry she is she left you. That's the first thing she said. How sorry she is. Oh, she said this was not the life that you were supposed to have. And I told her it's not your fault. And obviously, I know you're saying the same thing. It's not your fault. And she said she knows that, but it's not the way it was supposed to be. So I asked her, do we want to bring him up? Do we want to just talk to her about it? She said, no, we can pull him up. Oh, she said our healing has already happened. Okay. Okay. That's easy to say on that plane, to be honest. A lot harder to say on this one. All right, so we're going to call him up too. He had talked him in, okay. Um, he had talked himself into believing that there was something to be jealous about. I am guessing from the way he's describing this to me that he was having a mental health episode of some sort. He was way not in his mind. Um, what he was accusing her of was completely off the wall. She says that, and he says that too. Um, yeah, or what he thought that he saw. Like this was, I feel like this was some kind of a serious mental health episode that was happening in him.
Hmm.
Um, he said, "All the sorries in the world will never, ever be enough for what you've been through." Though your parents have found their peace. Um, yeah. Oh man, babe, I'm so sorry. Wow. Yes, that's a tough one. And if you ever want to go deeper on that and work on it together, I'll definitely do that with you.
Sure. So I did
Okay.
work on Sherry, and I also did work on Trish.
Okay.
So Sherry, so I did reset a cycle of energy that flows from, it comes in through your left foot and it comes all the way up to the top of your head and pushes all the way down out your right foot. It's a cycle of energy that repeats itself in your body. That was disrupted in you. And so that's what I can do for the swelling. Obviously, it could be something medical as well, but I did notice that there was a disruption there that I did fix. Trish, you had an attachment in the back of your neck. Thought form attachment. Somebody, had a strong reaction to something that you said and fired a little arrow at you. I did pull that and clear it and send it back.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We are just about done, but I wanted to get to Tina. Let's see, Tina, I'm going to try and scroll back up. I did see your question. We just didn't get there. And then we're going to have to be done tonight because we are over time.
Yeah.
All right. But no, Tina, you're not in the wrong place. We're just, but you're right that I know it's confusing for you guys because you're in two different chats. So some of you are in the Facebook chat and some of you guys are in the YouTube chat. So you're hearing questions or hearing us talk to people that you're not
Oh,
seeing. And I think that
because they
gets
combine in one place for us. So it's
confusing
all
sometimes.
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Tina said, my best friend passed away. Is she trying to tell me something? Also, my husband has a doctor's appointment coming up. Do you see anything we should be concerned about? Okay. All right, let's talk about your husband first, and then we'll talk to your best friend. Oh, no, she says that's not what we're doing. Oh, Tina. She's something. No, we're doing this first. Okay. And I think you posted her name up a little bit higher. Let's see. I'm going to get there. Okay, well, never. Oh, Rosemary, I believe. I think that's who you're talking about. But anyway, not to worry. Let's talk to her first. Okay, I understand. She wanted to talk to you about your husband's doctor's appointment. She said she actually like grabbed your face. And she said, "Stop worrying." She said, "You can't change anything anyway." But she said, "Stop worrying. He's fine." Her words, her attitude. He's fine. She said, "You guys have done the right things. And no, you don't have to worry. It's fine." Okay. Anything else? Because I don't want that to be her whole, if there's anything else she wants to tell you. She wants to talk about your stomach ache. She says you walk around with a pit in your stomach, a stomach ache all the time. She said mostly it's just worry. She said it's not just this. She said you worry about everything. She just wanted you to know that she will help you to shoulder that. She wants to see that stomach ache go away. She said she's just really raring to take some of your worries off your plate. So just hand them to her. Tell her what you're thinking about, what you're worrying about. And she said she will help you and help to shoulder those because she wants that feeling out of your gut. She doesn't like the way it feels. And she loves you. She loves you. And she said she really misses laughing with you. Yeah. I'm sorry, babe. But in her words, in that grab of your face, stop worrying.
Right.
I know. A lot easier to say that. Yep. Oh, that's your sister. Rosemary's your sister. I see. Okay. Well, this was your friend. Okay. All righty, you guys. Oh, how did I do
Sorry.
that?
That was
Oh,
an
you did
accident.
it.
You didn't do it. I did it. I
All
don't
righty,
know.
you guys. We do have to go. You're so welcome, sweetheart. Oh, Barbara's heading to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show tomorrow. Yeah, get a piece of anhydrite.
Ooh, yeah. Now you
Anhydrite.
know the
That's
real name, so you won't have trouble finding it.
it's one of the things that's hard to find anywhere, and it's so freaking expensive. We call it Angelite here in the New Age world, but we actually call it geologically, it's anhydrite, and you will pay a fortune for it in other places. But if you buy it from geologists at the Rock and Gem Show and call it anhydrite, it's not that expensive, and it's an amazing crystal.
Yes,
So
it is.
that's my bet. That's my bet.
It's a great idea.
Okay, you're so welcome, Eliza. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yep. All righty, you guys. Oh, Kendi, we do this show every Thursday night at 7. Um, Yep.
Mountain.
Yep, 7 Mountain. We have other stuff going on all week too, but 7 p.m. Mountain is the psychic hour. Next week it'll be the marching orders show because it's the first show of the month. So we won't do readings, but we will give general readings for every sign. But we
Yep.
do this every single week. Yep.
Yep, we do.
All righty, you guys. We've got to do it. That lasagna is going to be boiling over. So
Right?
thanks so much for being here. This has been the psychic hour here on the on True Crime Paranormal. Where are we? On True Crime Paranormal. Thanks for being here, guys. Have a good weekend and take care.
Thanks everybody.